Hi there! This is gonna be a video about Reclamation, which is how the Eastercon for 2022 was called. Eastercons change name yearly. I don't know why, but I find it cute. This video is going to be about my experience going to the convention and also about the stuff I brought back with me because I had like 2 tote bags worth of stuff. And I want to explore how it was to go to my second convention here, the first one being BristolCon, which is a smaller event but just as awesome, and also what I get out of it. See, I'm yet to establish friendships and relationships inside fandom and writing community here in the UK. It's very new to me. I moved here 3 years ago and then pandemic happened, so I've been mostly kind of isolated, and that's why one of the reasons I created the channel, to try to reach out to people, because like I'm not an introvert, I'm an extrovert, and if I'm feeling like isolated and want to meet people, I'll try to sort what I need to do, and this channel is one of the things. But I went to that con without knowing who's gonna be there that I knew, and without a support group around me. Many people arrived there in groups of friends, and they know they're gonna have a good time. I didn't know if I was gonna have a good time. I knew that the sessions would be good, like the reading sessions, the panels, the workshops, the fireside chats. I knew all of that would be amazing. But as many of you know, the most fun you're having at a convention happens outside those sessions, in the corridors and pubs and restaurants and wherever there are the dealer rooms. That's where the fun part is, and that's also where you establish new friendships. You may establish new friendships inside the sessions as well, but usually in those sessions are kind of passive sessions where you're just sitting down and listening to people. And if you're trying to make friends while that's going on, you're kind of being a bad audience member, unless it's a fireside chat or workshop. But as I said, I commuted there without knowledge of how it was gonna be. And I met some of the most generous people I've ever met in the UK. Everyone had a welcoming smile, was up for chatting, giving advice, showing me around. It's been fantastic. And that mimics my experience at BristolCon. For a while I didn't know if BristolCon was gonna be an outlier, like everyone here is so fantastic. I wonder if the other cons are like that. And this con has been like that, and that makes me think that from now on I'll just become a busy bee going from con to con, because I think like, well, I kind of find my people, and I think that's where I'm gonna establish friendships. And I don't want to single anyone out by saying how amazing they are, especially because I will forget someone. I met so many people. I'm not exactly sure how many people I've met, and they've all been so kind and amazing. Basically, I was carrying like this paper notebook, and it has pages and pages and pages of contacts, book recommendations, university degrees to check out, people to follow, channels to check out. It has been fantastic. Not only I've met people who are into the same kind of books that I am, but I also met many writers, some of which are in a similar step that I am in this journey, where they're just starting out, and others that are a bit further along and just showing us like, hey, this path I'm taking is cool, you might want to take it too. I arrived alone, but I left with friends, a critique group, recommendations, and a gazillion books. What more could you ask for, you know? This is living the dream. But before I go into that, I want to talk a bit about the sessions, because I set aside like a list of everything I wanted to go to. I'm like, well, if I don't meet anyone, if I don't talk to anyone, I'll have these sessions to enjoy and benefit from. And the sessions were amazing. I ended up skipping half of the sessions that I set aside, not only because I noticed that they were being filmed and I knew I could watch them later, but because I was having such a great time meeting new people that I didn't want to break these conversations and go to a session that I knew I could watch later. That being said, I did go to many sessions. I just didn't go to as many sessions as I originally planned. The interviews with the guest of honors have been amazing. I don't have enough good things to talk about Mary Rugnett-Cole, Tasha Suri, and Philip Reeve. What I'll say from all of these is that Tasha Suri was a revelation to me, because I was aware of her books and I knew that they were good. Every friend of mine, every person that I check reviews have been like, these books are amazing. They've been in my TBR for some time now, but I didn't know anything about the author. And I've been to a couple panels where she was in, and she was just amazing. I could listen to her for hours, which is the exact same experience I have with Mary Rugnett-Cole. Amazing people. And Philip Reeve was so kind as well. And I'm like, those people are amazing. And what happens is that I basically bumped Tasha Suri's book all the way up in my TBR. It will probably be the next book so I pick up as soon as I finish what I'm reading right now. And that's a constant in my life. I go to a con, I meet some authors, and I really like them, and I bump their book up in my TBR because I like reading people I meet. And meet might not be the correct term because some of those people I haven't interacted with, but I watch their sessions and being close to them in a sense of having a glimpse of them as a person. And if I like them, that's just one more reason to read their books. I like reading books from people I meet. And that circles back to the dealer's room, because many of the writers there and small presses, they've been flying under my radar because I've been consuming book content mostly through YouTube and blogs. And that tends to focus a lot more on mainstream, even though I'm always trying to check self-published stuff as well. But I'm yet to be a part of the buzz around small presses here in the UK. So my priority for the event was to get books from small presses and from people that were at the table and that I could chat. The first one I got, and I knew I was gonna get it, were the books by Alan Stroud, the chair of the BSFA. I've met Alan and Karen during BristolCon because I'm a member of BSFA and BFS, British Fantasy Society. As I said, I was trying to reach out. I'm like, well, there are these associations and societies. I'm gonna join them and try to meet more people that enjoy the same stuff through them. And in the event, I met them, and they were so cool. They introduced me to people. They were, again, like, it's a constant theme here of generosity. And then I learned that Alan was releasing the sequel to his other book in Eastercon. And I'm like, I'm gonna get the sequel. Well, I might as well get the first one as well. So I got Fearless, which is like his first book or in the series. I'm not sure if it's his first book, like his debut novel, or just the first in the series. But here it is, really nice cover. And from the blurb, it really looks to me something that is like hard sci-fi, similar to The Expanse, which is something that I really love. I loved all the books in The Expanse. So this is something that I'm really looking forward to read. And I also got the sequel, Resilient. which is the one that was being launched there. So these two books, hard sci-fi. Another thing that I got there were magazines, because even though I'm trying to write a novel, I'm trying to get better at creative writing prose by writing short stories at the same time. And I wondered how the short story market was here. I know that there is not enough time in the world to read all magazines that exist out there in the world. You're probably gonna end up submitting to magazines that you've never read. But I'm trying to make an effort to read the magazines from the UK. So one that I got was Black Static. This is the first issue of Black Static that I've got. It's a double issue. Black Static is a horror magazine, and I noticed that even though I don't write horror, I enjoy it. Growing up, when I was like a young teen, I went to this Lovecraftian phase where I devoured everything. It was only later, with a lot more critical thinking, that I came to understand how racist he was and how that can permeate his writings. And I will not be like advocating for like separating the artist from from the art, but it would be a lie if I didn't say that I'm not really into the mythos and cosmic horror. I really like that stuff, and we can do it better these days. But it's been a long time since I've last read horror short stories. I'm going through an SCP obsession right now, and that's I think what's rekindled horror for me. And I wanted to check what people are doing with short stories in a horror magazine, so I got Black Static. Since I got Black Static, I also got its sci-fi cousin, Interzone, also a double issue. Really nice cover as well. This is not the first Interzone I buy. Before the pandemic hit, I was going to Forbidden Planet and buying them, but I haven't been going there with all that's happening, so I haven't read recent issues. So this is a good chance for me to get back into Interzone. One that I got is Shorelines of Infinity. I was going to like Shorelines to Infinity, and like, well, Shorelines of Infinity, which is science fiction as well, and just too cute. This is a brand new magazine for me. I didn't know anything about them. I saw the table, started chatting with people, they were really nice, and I'm like, I'm gonna grab the last issue and check it out. I'm not only checking it out just because they're potential markets for my stuff, I'm checking them out because I love short stories, and they are so, like, these magazines, they are a business, but they also are a work of love. You need people who love this stuff to put these magazines out, and I like when I consuming something that is built by people who are part of like a fandom. Talking about fandom and also genre, steampunk is a genre that's very dear to my heart, like this intersection of steampunk and pulp stories. As we said, like, I had like a Lovecraftian phase, but I also read lots of other things from the pulp era that I love. I love this idea of a pulp adventure and steampunk. Like, my favorite comic is probably Girl Genius. I don't think I can write that right now. It's not where my writing is going. But I love to read it. And they had this series on a dinner table that spoke to me. So it's a series of steampunk books. The first one is Empire of the Dead by David Waite. And it's three sisters in in Europe, and they're having adventures. And I'll just read the first line here so that you can see how pulpy it is. And I'm not saying pulpy as a bad thing, like, I love it. These three sisters are in a college. It was during Latin that the Austro-Hungarians arrived with their dogs and zombies to kill everyone at the Eden College for Young Ladies. It's this line that sold me this book. I'm like, this is gonna be a fun adventure, I'm gonna enjoy it. But they also had the other ones. So this is Empire of the Dead. Let me rearrange the table for a second. Year of the Chrononaut. Invasion of the Grey. And Death on the Swiss. So I basically they had a sweet deal going on for all the series, basically like paid like 2 books and got 4 books or something. Wonderful. And I'm like, I'm gonna grab it and just have fun with them. I find these adventures, like, they're like my comfort read. I read to have a great time. It's like watching an Indiana Jones movie. If you want to go like into critical thinking, colonialism and everything, you can and you should be aware of all of that. But that will not prevent me from enjoying Indiana Jones. So that being said, and I'm not saying that there is any of that in those books. I haven't opened them yet. I just know that first phrase. But I know it's a European adventure. And it appears to me that each book is basically being inspired by a mainstream novel of the time. For example, Invasion of the Greys sounds to me something like War of the World. Death on the Swiss sounds to me like Death in the Nile. So, and I love that. I'm hoping it's like this. I'm hoping that each of these books will be like recalling all of that, but in a new setting with new characters and new outcomes, but it will be relatable. And I also got a little cross-stitch set for a tiny Cthulhu, which I plan to enjoy. I knew how to do a bit of cross-stitch when I was really young. I don't know if I still can do it. Probably not. I'll need YouTube tutorials to teach me. But this is all I got. And this is not the most important things I've got. The most important things I've got are the friendships, the contacts, people that I've been speaking to, even since the conference ended. Like a new critic group with friends that love the same stuff, that are willing to read the things I write. Other people in the fandom that are basically just generous with their time and their knowledge. Even my love of fan fiction has been rekindled, and I'm already thinking about writing some. I need to come up with a cool pen name. But it's this, everyone I met there inspired me to do more. And I did sign up for a lot of cons during the event. Like, I'm going to Satellite 7, I'm going to Chimera, I'm going to Worldcon, and I'll be going to FantasyCon. And for some of those that I signed up there, I already placed myself as available for volunteering, because I liked what was going on in this con so much, and these people have been so good to me that it's a way to give back. I think that going forward, this will be a very large part of my life here in the UK. Not only my transition into being a full-time writer, but the opportunity of finding and establishing meaningful friendships through fandom. I don't know what more I could have wanted out of Eastercon, and I haven't even talked about how amazing the sessions were. The highlights, because see, one thing that is not clear here is that this is the 5th time that I'm recording this video. Like, there's the time where the battery died, the time where the cat jumped on the camera, the time that the garbage lorry stopped by my window beeping. So I'm not even aware of what I already spoke on this cut and what's on the previous cut. But in case I haven't spoken about it, the sessions were also amazing. The Twisting Trope session was one of my favorite. The one about witches and women was also awesome. I really wish it touched more about witches and women magical users from places that are not European. That would be great. I'm from South America, and I think that we don't talk about South America enough. So that's something. But all those sessions and interviews have been great. I'm also looking forward to watching the videos, the recordings of the ones I missed. But what I liked the most was actually the conversations, the people I've met, and the friendships I established. I'm already looking forward to the next convention, and I hope that if you're watching this, that you will give conventions a try, and that if you end up in a convention where you see me passing by, just wave and let's have a coffee, tea, or a pint. I'm eager to meet more people. Talk to you soon. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe. I'm making videos twice a week about books and creative writing and storytelling in general. Talk to you soon.